For nearly a century, global sports governance has operated on a relatively fixed physical scale. In 2026, FIFA is expanding its core tournament format to a level that outpaces its previous 96-year history. Instead of a single host nation, the infrastructure load is being distributed simultaneously across 3 sovereign states: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The core of this shift is the roster limit. The traditional cap of 32 competing nations has been dissolved, expanding the entry matrix to 48 teams. Adding 16 teams triggers a compounding effect on the schedule. Total match inventory spikes by 60%, jumping from 64 to 104 events. That expanded inventory translates to capital. By controlling 40 additional broadcasts, FIFA's 2026 commercial cycle will reach $11 billion. A 50% increase in physical scale requires a departure from older logistical models. To manage this volume, the organization is pivoting to an asset-light infrastructure strategy, algorithmic ticket pricing, and AI-driven officiating. With an estimated 500 million viewers tuning in per match, the margin for human and logistical error that occurred in smaller events is being engineered out of the system. Adding 16 teams represents a deliberate re-engineering of the underlying economic engine to extract value from every global market. This chart breaks down the new architecture. 48 teams divide into 12 groups of 4. The top 2 advance, alongside 8 highest-performing third-place teams. This forces a novel bottleneck, a round of 32, manufacturing an entirely new slate of high-stakes broadcast inventory. Lowering the tournament qualification threshold creates major demographic anomalies on the pitch. Mega economies like the United States with 330 million people or India with 1.4 billion are competing for the same slots as absolute micronations. Take Curaçao. It is a Caribbean island with a total surface area of 443 square kilometers and a population of roughly 150,000. That footprint is less than half the size of the previous smallest qualifier, Iceland, which brought its 350,000 citizens to the 2018 cycle. Putting 104 matches on the calendar raises an immediate operational problem. You have to host that volume of football without bankrupting the local municipalities. The solution is the asset-light model. Instead of taking on heavy construction debt seen in Brazil, Russia, and Qatar, FIFA is exclusively utilizing highly developed, pre-existing North American megastadiums. A prime example of this efficiency is the Estadio Azteca in Mexico, sitting at an altitude of over 7,200 feet. By leveraging existing concrete, Azteca becomes the first stadium in history to host matches across 3 separate World Cup cycles, 1970, 1986, and now 2026. Its legacy is already secured as the site of the 1986 final and Diego Maradona's highly subjective Hand of God officiating controversy. From these venues, capital flows downstream to the member associations through a tournament prize pool of roughly $727 million. The exact distribution guarantees the tournament champion a massive $50 million payout, while any team that simply qualifies and plays in the group stage secures a strict $2.5 million floor. By combining this expanded bracket with pre-existing venues, FIFA creates a closed-loop system. The host municipalities absorb the infrastructure wear, while the governing body captures the global broadcast rights and the resulting GDP footprint. Managing the integrity of 104 matches requires a shift in how the game is refereed. Human subjective error is no longer scalable. Previous attempts at highly engineered equipment failed. In 2010, the multi-panel Jabulani ball was criticized for aerodynamic volatility and unpredictable wobble. The 2026 Trionda ball engineers that volatility out of the equation. Its exterior uses exactly 4 panels to guarantee a highly predictable flight path. This diagram reveals the internal architecture. Suspended perfectly in the center of the ball is an inertial measurement unit, or IMU, developed over a 3-year cycle. This microchip operates at 500 Hz. Every 2 milliseconds, it captures precise kinematic data and motion tracking telemetry. The sensor is sensitive enough to register micro-impacts. If the ball grazes a player's hand or even brushes a single blade of grass, that exact data transmits instantly to the video assistant referee. Inside the stadium, that IMU telemetry feeds directly into a real-time spatial AI network mapping the physical pitch. This network constantly processes the ball's location alongside the athletes, generating continuous 3D digital avatars for all 22 players on the field simultaneously. When an offside call occurs, the system calculates the margins down to the millimeter instantly. It eliminates the need for human referees to manually draw alignment lines on a monitor. The Trianda ball transitions football from a game governed by optical interpretation to a deterministic physics engine dictated by biometric data. Off the pitch, FIFA is deploying a separate technological strategy to extract capital from the highly developed North American entertainment market. They are adopting algorithmic dynamic pricing, a yield optimization strategy traditionally deployed by commercial airline networks. This map illustrates the core mechanism. Inventory is released in staggered windows, a batch in March, followed by May. Demand data from the first release trains the pricing algorithm, automatically inflating the cost of identical seats in the second release based on real-time market demand. Commercially, this allows FIFA to act as its own primary vendor and capture the premiums that historically leaked out to secondary resale markets. The ceiling for this market behavior is set here, at MetLife Stadium in New York and New Jersey, the venue for the 2026 final. Premium individual seats for the final have already appeared on official resale platforms, with asking prices reaching $1.5 million. When questioned about these metrics, FIFA President Gianni Infantino defended the strategy, citing the United States as the most developed entertainment market in the world. This pricing power is amplified by the time zone. Moving away from midnight matches in Qatar to prime afternoon broadcast slots in the Americas directly inflates the value of both media rights and these dynamic in-stadium algorithms. Having outsourced stadium construction costs, FIFA uses algorithms as its final gear to ensure every single seat achieves its maximum possible market yield. Beneath the algorithms and the billion-dollar revenue cycles, the demand is still driven by the athletes, and 2026 marks the definitive departure of a legacy generation. With Lionel Messi entering the tournament at 38 and Cristiano Ronaldo at 41, this cycle serves as their final competitive appearance on the global stage. Replacing them is an incoming generation of highly optimized athletes. These players are producing significant performance metrics. Look at Erling Haaland's qualification campaign for Norway: 8 matches played, 8 wins, and 16 goals. The tournament must scale its technology and its economics precisely because the athletes themselves are performing at absolute optimized limits. At its core, this event commands massive human attention. 500 million people will pause their daily lives just to watch 22 players. To monetize that attention, the entire system relies on 3 pillars. First, generating an $11 billion cycle is strictly dependent on producing that expanded 104-match inventory. Second, extracting maximum capital from those matches requires the aggressive deployment of algorithmic dynamic pricing. And third, maintaining competitive integrity across a 40-18 matrix demands the replacement of human subjective limits with 500 Hz kinematic AI. When you aggregate these variables, the reality of the 2026 format becomes clear. It has transitioned beyond the limits of a standard sporting event. It serves as a demonstration of how high-tech deterministic systems, when applied at this scale, ensure that every match achieves its maximum possible commercial yield.